adulation, it gives us strength to go through what we face. It's our guide and light through the darkest places. It teaches us to create peace. No matter what's going on, we have to believe and keep the faith. Trouble comes all during night and day, but joy comes in the morning. So don't you worry, God is love. It's so good to know He's our joy, life, healer, provider, protector, way maker. He fills us up until we overflow. It's so wonderful to know He's in control. Yeah, you're in trouble. God comes to the rescue. When things are falling apart, He'll be there to help you because He cares. He wants what's best for you. In every matter of your life, He will see you through. So if you're ever feeling lonely, know He's there for you. If you ever lost the love, He will comfort you. He will pick you up when you are down. Open your eyes, see what's in front of you. Though I created all these factions to blind you from the truth. Your hand is holding you. It's so good to know He's our joy, life, healer, provider, protector, way maker. He fills us up until we overflow. It's so wonderful to know He's in control. God is love. He can space and time from the world place. Feeling lost, you can be found today. Turn back to Him and He'll turn back to you. A real message, I pray that it's getting through. I know all this can be a big change for you. The world God created was simple. The enemy makes everything complicated. Drain your soul, fill it with hate, hoping you never escape His plan. Not part of God's plan. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard what's in store for you. Stay in the fight, make it through. I love you, He's calling you. It's so good to know He's our joy, life, healer, provider, protector, way maker. He fills us up until we overflow. It's so wonderful to know He's in control. God is love.
Well, chosen elect family, it is good to know that the Most High Yah is indeed love, and His love is found in the truth of His word, and that's what we're here to do today, is to apply the truth of His word to our current day circumstances, so that in the mix of all that's going on, the dark psychology, manipulation, mass deception, social reengineering, mass distractions, power grabs by those that are narcissistic demons that crave the Genesis chapter 3, Luke chapter 3, wanting to be like the Most High, false gift that Satan tends to offer to those that are willing to sell their souls. In these times, we turn to the word of the Most High. His truth is what anchors us, what guides us, and what gets us through it all. And so if you're in the building, I want to welcome you on. It's always a pleasure to be a vessel, a willing vessel, to be used by the Most High is amazing. And that's all I am, is just a willing vessel to speak the truth. And today we're going to talk about the wicked technology and mass psychological deception. Now, this channel is shadow banned, as many of you already know. Nonetheless, it is my spiritual, moral, and ethical obligation to put it out there. And the Most High will find a way to get it to someone who needs to hear. During these times, we need to be tuning in to living waters, which is very rare in this famine of the word era that we live in. So when we think of wicked technology and mass psychological deception, we normally see them as two separate entities. But in today's lecture, Rhema word that we're going to be experiencing, we're in gleaning from, we will discover that they're one and the same. Satan has always tricked man into believing that he can achieve or obtain power without going through the Most High. Now, some of you scholarly viewers may know this, but the definition of chaos, and there we are with the glitches, but the definition of chaos, if we're still screaming, is power without control. It is power without control when you have chaos. Something like an explosion would be chaotic, right? Because it's power, but it has no order. It has no control. It has no catalytic purpose. Therefore, it is very destructive. And so anytime that you're obtaining power outside of the Most High's order, which is the only order and righteous order, then you, by default, obtain chaos. And so we live in a world now where, man, I wouldn't even say mankind, but those that are running this wicked world system of Babylon have chosen to receive power outside of the Most High. And this power takes many different forms, whether it's the technology, psychology, political, military, financial, etc. All these false, what the scriptures would call lying signs, powers, and wonders, are nothing more than chaotic, destructive, farce ships that the enemy use in order to degrade mankind. And we're going to go to the word, and then we'll go to some other sources. I plan on diving into the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. We'll dive into the book we're very familiar with, called Spirit Tech, The Brave New World of Consciousness Hacking. We're talking about neural invasive technology and the Enlightenment engineering era, which that's where we are. We are without a doubt in the area of or the time of sentient AI. One of the um, online articles that I wanted to explore, and I don't know if we have time to fully go over this, is from an online site called The Verge. And this was dated back in July 31st, 2019, and it's called It's Sentient, mean, meaning that the technology is thinking, operating, and deciding independently of human input, right? So the subtitle says, "Meet the classified artificial brain being developed by the U.S. intelligence programs or the U.S. intelligence agency." And we'll, touch on various things, but I know for a fact that it's very crucial for us who are woke and aware of the times that we live in to set our foundation in the word, and then everything else that we glean from will add context to that foundation of truth. So welcome on. And I see we have Battle for Your Brain and the Building. Welcome on. I definitely appreciate you guys taking your time, effort, and attention to listen. You know what I mean? To listen to someone who's been a victim of the U.S. intelligence agency and the United States government for well over 10 years, who's been character assassinated, who's been physically, psychologically, mentally, and spiritually beaten down by the hordes of satanic cabals that are running this country. The sick, low down, dirty, evil, dirty things they have done to me cannot be put in words. Nonetheless, the Most High allow us to experience some things so that we can wake others up to the nightmare, which is the reality hidden behind the veil of the American dream, and so forth. So you guys are welcome. Welcome. We know, and this is a horrible copy, and I'm not sure how I'm wanting to say the dog got a hold to this. I don't want to blame him just yet because I didn't see him do it. But this copy of the memoir and informatory that I passed out talks about the electronic murder, the electromagnetic murder, the microwave murder, being cooked alive under the auspices of a presidential initiative called the Brain Initiative, launched in 2012. That would be the Barack Obama's Brain Initiative era, which gave these intelligence community programs such as the NSA and the FBI and the CIA and DARPA, which is part of the Department of Defense, and even the private sector, such as the University Academic Committee, the right to experiment on non-consensual subjects, U.S. citizens, to advance the neural tech science research. And this is underneath the guise or the auspices of national security, right? Pre-crime, all this stuff. And it goes into detail about these agencies, which there's a lot of them, from the FBI, NSA, Department of Homeland Security, uh, the Central Secret Service, DARPA, we mentioned, and much, much more. But they do have each one of these units, including the Department of Defense or the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, they all have COINTELPRO, or what we would call Black Ops units. And these Black Op research and intel units have programs that are extremely secretive and so forth. And so this just briefly reads that they have extremely secret technology that can pick up on the private thoughts given by an individual's brain and the vibrations and electromagnetic waves produced by the electrical impulses of their thoughts. And this is very difficult to read. I do apologize. Now, this technology or the neuroscience can pick up on these private thoughts and broadcast them through the technology that has been given to the civilian population underneath the deceptive guise of conveniency. You know, how convenient is it to be able to pick up your phone and GPS a store or a location that you've never been to, or to research or find an answer or a phone number. You know, conveniency in entertainment is what draws to the technology, but there's a hidden agenda behind that, right? So they give us this technology, and on the backside, on the dark side of that thing, they're up to something. They're up to no good, right? And so this technology has the ability to broadcast one's thoughts, et cetera. And we have come to an understanding that there is sentient, deep learning, machine learning, artificial algorithms, or you might say artificial life, that is gathering information, building profiles, etc., on the populace. And this is why if you pick up your phone, you will discover that it is learning you bit by bit. It is monitoring your conversations. It is posting ads based on information that it's gathered during its reconnaissance phase. And it is even developing playlists for people on sentient AI entertainment platforms such as Pandora and much, much more. You know, on YouTube, there's video suggestions and things of that nature, playlists, all that, shopping, and so forth. And so what do this have to do with prophecy? This is what we need to get to, is back to the scripture. What do this have to do with prophecy? It has to do with the combination of the first prophetical word spoken over man. Once we entered into sin, then prophecy came about that described what we had done and what we would have to go through in order to get back to a utopic society, absent of this chaos, right? Because that's the whole goal, is to reverse or to repent, to go back to a situation or state of purity, of salvation, or being savaged or restored back to perfection or the way that things should be. So I'm going to go to the scriptures. And let me see. It says, can you copy that and post it to your community board? I definitely will. Yeah, I definitely will. Believe it or not, I've gone from state to state passing this informatory around, and many people, um, they're either too afraid to accept the truth because ignorance is bliss. You can live a happy, carefree, in quotation, carefree life if you're unaware of the dangers that exist all around you. And so some will accept it, and they'll say, I'm taking this home. I'm going to discuss it with my family. Thank you. It's a blessing. And then I have many as well that say, I don't want to know. I know there's a lot of strange things going on in this world, but I don't want to know this very sensitive information. But it goes on to say, today there are microscopic computer chips based on nanotechnology. I have a video that I've been trying to upload for a while that is a situation recording of me delivering um, hyperbolic heat chambers to the Marcus Nanotechnologies Science Building of Georgia Science and Technologies University in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. I was there less than a month ago, and I recorded the whole thing, and I did pass out this informatory while I was there, knowing that there were shields in place that wasn't going to allow it to get to the proper people, but at least I was able to have these conversations on the university campus grounds and so forth. And hopefully we can bypass the censorship um, blockers and get those videos uploaded so you guys can see MT on the battleground. What I do when I'm not just here on a video, you know what I mean? I'm out there on the front line, you know what I mean? Been like this for over 10 years. But going on microscopic computer chips based on nanotechnology, which can be inserted into a person by means of injection, intravenous injection. Now, you know, there's certain censored words, but we know the V word. That's one way of intravenously injecting something into someone, or by tooth filling, with or without the knowledge of the doctor or pharmacist. These computer chips can not only track the implanted person. Let me see. Yeah, it's very difficult to read. I do apologize. I'm going to have to get a better copy. I just don't want to interrupt this video, but it not only can track the person, but it basically turns the human biosphere or human body into an integrated, interactive signal for the uh, supercomputer, uh, artificial intelligence um, apparatus that The Verge speaks of in this article. So the U.S. intelligence agency, whether it's DARPA, and heading or spearheading this from my personal research, is the U.S. Airspace Defense, which is the fifth branch and most secretive branch of the uh, Department of Defense. So you have Air Force, Navy, Marine, Army, and then most people don't know about the U.S. Air and Space Defense Program. They're the ones that have access to the majority of the sentient artificial intelligence satellites that appears to be out of the norm stars at night that can send interactive waves through our homes, into our homes. And this is where a lot of the directed energy weapons and so forth comes from. But getting back, I keep trying to get to the word. Screw it, I'm screwing up today. Father, help me, because I'm all over the place. It says, truth. I'm living in the metaverse prison that sync targets internet of bodies to the Internet of Things. All apps, radios, TVs, satellites, videos have synced their algorithms to target specific. Can you share the title again? The title of, oh, you're talking about, it's called It's Sentient. Of the article, you can go to theverge.com. That's THEDERGE.com. And the article is called It's Sentient. The Verge is, of course, a science, tech, online. I wouldn't call it a magazine, but it's a news article. Says you need to copy that and retype these. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm already on it. And thank you. I definitely will. Make sure you share this video with someone. And I have other videos as well that go into deeper details, such as, you know, this book where people will say you're crazy, you're schizophrenic, you're bipolar, you're experiencing hyper paranoia, etc. And then I go to a book like this and just tell them you're uneducated and the truth don't need to be validated by your ignorancy. This book is called Spirit Tech, The Brave New World of Consciousness. This is a fancy way to, you know, avoid saying brain interfacing or brain invasive technology. Consciousness hacking. Hacking the human brain, hacking your consciousness, your awareness, in enlightenment engineering. And this, of course, is by Wildman and Professor Kate Stockley. And these are both PhDs, which are highly accredited. And it talks about this technology. It says, imagine, and remember the way that these mass deceivers word things is in a way that has to be decoded, right? So we're going to decode this. It says, imagine a device or basically technology that can coax. Now, coax, COAX, is a communication link. That's what it is. It's a communication link. Now, there's old coax cables, you know, that we would hook computers and monitors and things of that nature up with. And now there's the wireless coax. It's a communication link. Your brain into a meditative state, right? So, meaning thought invokes state. And then it goes on to tell you what, in bold letters, it exists. This technology exists. Or a system that allows us to sync a group heart rate and brain waves for a intense communal experience. Now, communal, that's community. So to sync means exactly what Battle for your brain was mentioning earlier. That's basically the hive. That's the sharing of information. That's the hive mind. Now, in Dr. Robert Duncan's book entitled Project Soul Catcher, he um, mentions that DARPA, or the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency of um, the United States, which he worked on, they call this science hydrodyning. You know what I mean? Being able to use technology in millimeter wave um, data communications in order to put a group of people on the same thought pattern. It's also referred to in other pamphlets as synthetic telepathy, although there's nothing supernatural about it. It's just simply prophecy coming to pass, flying signs and wonders, um, the enemy trying to play God, right? So shared thoughts and so forth. And it goes on to tell you it's not being developed, but it exists. And these are PhDs, these are professors, right, from Ivy League accredited colleges. So you can call me stupid, but you're not going to call the people that you give these false pseudos accolades to stupid. And they're telling you it exists. And it says, what if you are able to experience sacred insight in a virtual space? So that would be like the metaverse. You know what I mean? The integrating of the virtual world of information with the human reality. And all this stuff really exists and so forth. And so Thynic, which is THYNC, is being displayed here in action. Now, this is an analog version of that, where this device here have electrodes located near the frontal lobe of the brain, and it can interact directly with computers. So it says here, on the other hand, with actual, not fictional, not developmental, but actual mind writing technology. That means it can write information onto your brain, download information onto your brain. Do you think people like um, Elon Musk, or the new spokesman for Google Gemini artificial intelligence, what's the guy's name? He used to be a partial owner, or still is a partial owner, of the Dallas Mavericks. Um, Mark Cuban, you know, these multi-billionaires, you think they're just so eloquent and recalling in a vast database information system like that? No, they have brain and chips. They have brain chips implanted in their head. Neuralink is a real thing. Neuralink had $100 million investment by the United States government. These are articles that people need to just pick up and read. You know, uh, uh, especially for the so-called black community, the Israelite community, we just don't read. They communicate in ways that we're least likely to explore. And writing uh, the information down is one way that they can just put it out there for one another, and we not even tap into it, even though it's public knowledge. This is public information, people. So it exists. It says with actual mind writing technology, the challenge is to induce, they can induce what? Mental images, putting mental images into your head. You're like, what? Where did that thought come from? That's crazy. That's not me. That's not my thought. That's not my feeling. They can now induce this. And underneath the Barack Obama Brain Initiative, as someone who's been thrown on a targeted watch list, you can be subjugated without your consent to being experimented on with this technology. This is the reality of it. Emotions, they can induce certain emotions, draw rage into a person. It goes on to say in content without relying on a person's senses. Man, talking about a violation of your humanity and your human rights. This technology is just what the scriptures call abominative. You know what I mean? Just violating your temple without your consent, implanting thoughts, feelings, emotions into your head. You know, this is just sick, psychotic, and demented. And in the Old Testament and the days of Noah, it was called witchcraft and sorcery. Now that same witchcraft and sorcery, which was described then, and those lexicals or etymologies have taken on new terminology or new verbiage. We call it science and technology today. What they call the mystical arts back then, witchcraft and sorcery is now referred to as science and technology. That fallen angel science and technology, or whatever it was, has just been reintroduced underneath another alias to today's society, and we're falling for it, right? Because we have not allowed the word to prepare us for what's to come. You know what I mean? If we were in our word and we were receiving revelations from the Most High, then we would be aware of the fact that He tells us that there's going to come a day and a time where the world would be full of deceit, lying science, and you know, powers and wonders and things of that nature. Things that they're doing now with HARP, CERN, Project Bluebeam, and much more. The list goes on and on. It exists. Brain invasive technology, predatorial sentient AI that can interact with the human's brain. And this is why the scriptures talks about having a helmet of salvation. You know what I mean? Because you're going to need a firewall for your mind in these days. The enemy's hijacking the thoughts of people, the emotions of people, etc. You know, and so forth. And you have things such as, well, those are just EEG and electroencephalogram scannings, but people like this who volunteer to be put on a communal brain link, syncing, it says a group flow ritual in progress. And it is a ritual, right? Group flow ritual. This technology allows the hive-minded NPCs, non-playable characters of society. And when I say NPCs, I mean those that don't develop their own thoughts, emotions, perspectives, and opinions on matters. They're given it. You know, they're just hardware to be downloaded into, basically, and to be programmed. They're programmed by television ads, by television. They're programmed by mainstream corrupt educational institutes. The word institute itself means program. One of the synonyms of institutionalized means to be programmed. And so, um, that's where we're at. Majority of people around us prefer to be herd minded, hive minded. They prefer to be part of this new age thought wave where um, they don't stand apart from the group, but rather their process in it, group flow rituals um, style. And with the technology and artificial intelligence, it's made easy. And I'm so far off from where I was hoping this message would go. We're on a whole different trajectory because I literally wanted to talk about, the real bloodline. I wanted to talk about the dual society and things of that nature, which is on a whole nother level. So what I need to do actually is to uh, write this stuff down and then represent it in a more organized fashion for the people because it's just so much. I mean, like the title say, we're living in the age of wicked technology and mass psychological deception. For eons, they have been planning, or what the Tavistock Institute of Human Relation would call shaping the moral, spiritual, cultural, political, and economic decline of not only the United States, but the world as a whole, social reengineering, and so forth. And this comes right out of, the dual society. So it goes beyond Nazism. Nazism was built on the dual society. And this is, a cabal of a rare, some might call reptilian bloodline, and so forth, that are skilled in what the ancients would refer to as the mystical arts, dabbling into science, technology, and dark magic, a combination of all. As a matter of fact, uh, even the CIA has a paranormal black ops division. Now, wrap your mind around that. Why would the CIA have a paranormal research division where they employ people that work in the dark arts, dark magic, etc.? Satan's not playing and his people's not playing. Unfortunately, the majority of everyday people and so-called believers, we're relaxing. We're not woke. We're not aware. We're not on our post, and we're not ready. This is why everything has caught us off guard. Right now, as I speak, there's a artificial life form that is running in the background of YouTube and Google. They've given it the name Gemini, which is nothing more than an resurfacing of fallen angel spirits remanifesting and represent itself in technological form. But Gemini is the name of Google's artificial intelligence life form that operates in the background while you uh, utilize the technology, or when you're not utilizing the technology, it's still running, it's still there in existence, and so forth. And now on this artificial life form that have been created, not just Gemini, but other um, life forms and portal these spirits, which I believe they're the manifestations of spirits that have. Well, anyway, I'll digress from that. I don't want to seem crazy because you have to believe what I believe and know what I know in order to be able to relate or to understand. So I'll just digress with that. But nonetheless, the reality of it is we're in the sentient area, meaning it's alive. You've heard, or for those of you who know about the classic movie Dr. Frankenstein, uh, which was German, by the way, because all the American technology came from Germany. Operation Paperclip, where they infiltrated over 2,000 uh, Nazi German scientists into America and hid them underneath um, alphabet organizations such as NASA, CIA, Section 5 of the FBI, which is the Black Ops Division, NSA. All these were started and founded by or they evolved into what they are today after Operation Paperclip, where instead of destroying those violators of human rights, they decided to um, resource them for their own selfish benefit and gain. And as a result, weapons of mass destructions have been created, wars have been fought, and lives have been decimated, whether in the military or civilian uh, world of things. You know, because if the enemy create a weapon, they're going to want to use it. And this can be a biological viral weapon. You know, every year or every other year, a new um, health threat is introduced to humanity. And I would venture to say that at least 85% of those viruses and so forth that are introduced to humanity uh, are synthetic. They are fabricated in laboratories. And I'll digress from that because of the uh, extreme censorship here on uh, YouTube. But this is the reality that we live in. We live in a world where capitalism, you know what I mean, money, health care is profitable. Health cures is not profitable because if I cure you, CURE, your problem, then you don't have to keep paying health care insurance premiums and doctor bills and so forth, right? But if I give you sustainable health care where I'm just sustaining you till your next treatment, then it becomes profitable. You have to keep coming back for another pill, for another injection, you know, and then if I keep reintroducing a new problem, then I can always reintroduce myself as the solution. It's called Hegelian dialectic. If you guys want to research that um, dark psychological tactic, it's called um, Hegelian dialectic. Create a problem, wait, they're going to react, and they're going to want a solution. And then that's when you come in with the uh, presenting the outcome that you've wanted all along. You know what I mean? Nobody would take those, we're going to call them D's. You know what I mean? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. We're going to say V, and you can catch my drift, right? To bypass the algorithms. If the fear mechanism of a newly introduced health threat wasn't always prevalent, right? So they have to create, introduce the problem, and then introduce the solution, which always comes at a cost, right? They give you the problem for free, but in order to get a sustainable temporary fix, it's always going to cost you. Problem, reaction, solution, research, Hegelian dialectic, and so forth. It says, I was targeted and set up for mental health commitment after I separated from my beautiful pregnant wife because we were fighting over medical cannabis. To be voted in Utah, I effed up. Well, that is a lot to unpack there. So it says, I was targeted and set up for mental health commitment after I separated from my beautiful pregnant wife because we were fighting over medical cannabis. And, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't even, because it's marriage, you know, I believe in scripture. It's the Most High's will that he says, I hate divorce. So, you know what I mean? I really hate that you guys had to separate it, especially if she's pregnant. And the child needs the presence. I don't care what anybody say, the presence of the father. You know what I mean? He needs the presence of the father. He needs the presence of the mother. And the traditional mother, father, child structure that the Most High set from the beginning is the only, um, you know, I would say it's his perfect plan for man. Now, there's something called a permissive plan that, you know, he permits certain things, such as, you know, there's step parents that come in or foster parents in certain situations that come in and does a great job. It's not his perfect plan, but it's his permissive plan. It's his backup plan and so forth. But then it goes on to talk about medical cannabis to be voted in the state of Utah. When it comes to politics and especially when you're dealing with hot button issues such as medical cannabis, I just kind of back out of that. You know what I mean? It's like prohibition, right? It's like prohibition. Alcohol was illegal as long as the government couldn't control and um, orate the profit of alcohol. Now, once they found a way to the FDA or whoever uh, gained control over the alcohol market, then uh, alcohol was legalized and there was no more prohibition. Well, it's the exact same thing with, you know, marijuana and other drugs. You know, if it comes through their Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aids, pharmacies, etc., then it's legal. If it come any other way and they're not able to profit. So if you want to know if something's legal or not, then you follow the money. Can and is the government getting paid? Then it's legal. If not, then it's illegal and so forth. But when it comes to medical cannabis, um, I would say this: everything's not meant for everyone. I myself, I don't use drugs. I don't drink or anything like that, and I don't judge. That's the Most High's job to judge individuals and what they do, etc. Um, but I would say this: the problem is the same problem spiritually with alcohol. Do people have enough righteous judgment and discipline to know if it's medical or if it's recreational, right? Scriptures tells us that alcohol itself is not a sin. As a matter of fact, in the New Testament, it says, drink a little wine for your stomach's sake, meaning that there's certain bacteria that can develop in one's stomach based on uncooked meat. You have salmonella and different other bacteria that was very um, prevalent back then. And they would have to drink alcohol with it in order to kill some of, you know, that off to keep from getting sick and so forth. So it had medical uses. And then there's also this scripture that says strong drink is a mocker, right? And it warns us against the use of excessive drinking or drinking without it having a purpose to it, right? Where the substance then control you. I would say that the majority of people that I've seen, and this is just from my personal experience, that use the cannabis, they do it recreationally, and then they become dependent on it. It becomes a drug of dependency, and anything that you depend on outside of the Most High comes with a spirit attached to it. You know what I mean? And that's what you're dealing with. And I don't want to go too deep off into that. Like I said, I invite everyone here, and I understand that everyone's not scripture believers like I am, and I respect that. You know what I mean? I have people who are Muslims, some that are Israelites like myself, some that are atheists that come to this channel, some that are Christians in other backgrounds, and so forth. I can tell you where I stand on the truth that I've come into in my personal perspective on different subjects. But nonetheless, you have to decide, you know what I mean? You have to decide whether or not it was worth separating from your beautiful pregnant wife because you were fighting over all things medical cannabis. That's not even an argument I would have with my wife. My wife is deceased as well. And I promise you, you know, something like that wouldn't even be an argument. And I wish 1,000 times she was still here, and so forth. But yeah, and hopefully I will be praying that somehow, some way, that you're a part of your children's life. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something. Here's something real amazing, and I'm hoping that they come out. All right, so this is my tropical fish aquarium, and I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not, but I have several different species of tropical fish. Now, I don't know all the names of them, but the zebra fish back here, they've had babies, and they're very protective of their babies. Let me try to get them on camera. If they're over in the dark area, I might have to light it up some kind of way. But I was hoping that they would be on this side of the tank because it'll be more visible. But nonetheless, my zebra cichlid, the larger one that you see right there, that's the male, and then the smaller one is the female. But they're very protective of their children, which you can't see right now. They keep them up in a little ball or bundle, and yeah, that's the male right there. So that's the male fish. He's like patrolling, and then right below him is the female. And just watching them and how protective they are of their children is just amazing. It goes to show you that the Most High's word, His commandment, His plan for His life, His real true life, not His artificial intelligence life, but His true life, it still exists today. It's only humanity that rebels against that law. In the beginning, he created male and female, and he commanded the male and the female to come together to reproduce, multiply, replenish the earth, right? And so it's his will. And then just watching his creation, carry out that the male and the female, they pair up, and it's just God's law in motion, and you get a chance to see it in action and ask yourself, why is it that fish can carry out God's plan, but we as human beings, we seem to have a problem with it? You know what I mean? We seem to have a problem with that. We can't even identify what's a man, what's a woman nowadays, and define that. Depopulation is a real agenda. Margaret Sanger's uh, Planned Parenthood is a real issue nowadays, more so now than ever. It's only humanity that's in rebellion against the Most High's law and so forth. But hopefully next time they'll be where they normally reside, which is this side of the aquarium, and it's a light brighter, and you'll be able to see the kid. Maybe, I'm not sure how good the pictures are, but you can kind of see the little kids floating around the boat. You can kind of see them. They're the little dots, like just kind of floating up and down, and those are the two parents. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm getting ready to close this thing out. I don't know if I ever showed this, but I was actually young on this. I think I was probably 28, 29. But that was me and my wife when I was married. And so I keep that picture up in reminder of her, you know what I mean? And I've given my testimony on how the government destroyed my life and so forth. And now I'm healing, revamping, reviving from that. When I woke up to the fact that we live in a sick, dirty world where people who see something beautiful are willing to do whatever it takes in order to destroy it, to destroy your potential before it manifests. It just allowed me to see the world for what it is. You know what I mean? We live in a sick, evil, twisted, demented world full of sick, demented, twisted people. And this is why I stay to myself. I stay to myself. I'm friendly with, try to be friendly and cordial with everyone. But when it comes down to it, man, my circles have shrunken to just basically me and the Most High. And that's just what that is. And I believe that's the way that it has to be during these last days. Anyway, in the next video, we'll try to pull out the book of Daniel, chapter 7, where it talks about the technology being based on hyper surveillance, having eyes like the eyes of man. We'll also pull out Daniel chapter 8, around verses 23 through 25, where it talks about that Antichrist system being accompanied with the dark psychology or the dark sentencings and the psychological manipulations. We'll also be able to go into the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. And I know the last time I tried to do a public reading out of this, I didn't get a good response, but it's a real thing. Social engineering and the social science. You know what I mean? How to social engineer society. And this goes all the way back to Dr. Kurt Lewin of the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, along with Dr. Benet, who was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, you know what I mean, who founded the art of psychological manipulation in Europe. And it trickled its way into the American political scheme of things. So till next time, you guys continue to stay woke, continue to stay aware of the fact that you are being tracked, traced, monitored, surveilled. You are being manipulated and distracted. This is why come every subject, but what's really being discussed in campaigns and the plans of the presidential candidates is frontline news, right? What really should be the main topics on every U.S. Forum would be this candidate in this particular area that's going to affect your life, either directly or indirectly, believes and plan on taking the country in this direction. That's what it should be. Instead, it's P. Diddy is human trafficking and working for the FBI and doing all sort of sick stuff. What else? Garth Brooks is being accused of rape, but is headlining Las Vegas concert. What else? It's a host of things, man. You name it. It's a distraction and it's a headline topic to distract you, the simpleton, from getting to know the truth and focusing on what's really going on. Till next time, stay woke, stay in your word, and I promise you, you will be blessed. Your boy, MTAC, as always, has got stinky.